In May of 2015, a San Jose couple in the upscale Evergreen neighborhood experienced a terrifying home invasion. It was actually the second time their house had been targeted, even after they'd installed 6 security cameras following the first burglary. Surveillance footage showed 2 young men trespassing into the backyard and getting in through a sliding glass door. They were caught on camera rummaging through kitchen drawers and arming themselves with knives. One of them even disconnected the home's landline before they both headed upstairs. Upstairs were Bikram's sister-in-law and her mother, who were babysitting a 1-year-old girl at the time. The intruders seemed to hear something from upstairs and rushed up. The 2 women quickly locked themselves in the bathroom for safety, while the men could be seen coming up the stairs and checking each room. One of them tried the bathroom door and realized it was locked. He then called the other over, letting him know where the women were hiding. As seen in the footage, they started stabbing and kicking the bathroom door, trying to break it down, but thankfully, it didn't budge. According to the report, the suspects tried to force their way in, but fled when they heard the women yell, "We're calling the police." That seemed to work. The 2 men took off before officers arrived. What makes this video truly disturbing is that they didn't seem interested in robbing the house at all. They didn't steal anything. They walked in casually, like they already knew the layout, quickly armed themselves, and immediately tried to attack the women, who were just there, taking care of a baby. Police later uncovered the shocking truth. One of the suspects was the homeowner's own 17-year-old son, Simarjeet Singh. He had planned the break-in with 17-year-old Moses Perez, 22-year-old Moses Knoll, and 16-year-old Alvaro Valdivia. All of them were charged with robbery, burglary, and gang-related offenses, and the juveniles were tried as adults. No suspect photos were released since some of them were minors at the time. Thankfully, no one was physically hurt in the attack, though the family came dangerously close to being harmed. The incident left the community shaken, and served as a chilling reminder of how quickly an ordinary day can spiral into a nightmare. On December 25th, 2024, a TikTok user who goes by the name Sunwell posted a video that quickly went viral. In the video, he describes a terrifying encounter in his backyard in South Carolina, where something unknown was snapping large tree branches like twigs. You can hear the genuine fear in his voice as he tries to convince himself it couldn't possibly be a bear. Before hitting record, Sunwell says he tried to confront the creature, but it responded by throwing large tree limbs at him. Worried for his safety, he backed up, and that's when he started filming.
I've never seen anything like it in my life. This is the second time I've come over here. And the first time when I got up under them trying to figure out what it was, they started breaking limbs off and throwing them at me. What in God's name is it? It's bigger than me, whatever it is. Because just breaking limbs off that it would take me 2 minutes to saw. Look, that's bigger than me. Look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. What in Jesus' name is doing this? Oh my God, he just took half the tree down. Something, oh my God, oh my God. Oh, it's gotta be I don't even think a bear would have a chance in Hades and it doing this. It's something stronger than a bear. And he is pissed. Yeah, that's a healthy tree. About 8 to 10, maybe even 12 inches in diameter that he just broke because he's pissed because I'm getting close to him. I think I'm going to bounce because I think he just hit the ground, which means he's about to face me on foot. And I don't really want to wrestle with somebody that can tear trees down.
Shortly after Sunwell posted this, viewers began scanning the video frame by frame, hoping to catch something he missed. And the theories are pretty crazy, from Bobcat, Bigfoot, alien with a cloak, skinwalker, and others. Some believe the creature could be a monkey, or even a group of them. In the video, you can see it jumping around with quick, agile movements, and its small size does resemble that of a monkey. This theory has been linked to an incident from the same year, when 43 monkeys escaped from a laboratory in South Carolina on November 9, 2024. However, this remains purely speculative. The creatures in the footage don't make any recognizable sounds, and it's unclear whether monkeys roughly the size of house cats would even have the strength to snap large tree limbs. Adding to the mystery, Sunwell, the original poster, has refused to answer any questions or provide follow-up updates. Whatever the truth may be, the silence only fuels the speculation. But let me know what you think. Since 2017, a YouTuber named Phil has been sharing videos of his hiking adventures on his channel, Hick Slam. In his uploads, he shows everything from packing for a long trip and choosing the right camping gear to surviving solo, deep in the woods. On the night before Thanksgiving in 2021, Phil decided to spend the night camping on a stretch of the Appalachian Trail near his home in Virginia. At first, it seemed like a normal hike, peaceful, quiet, uneventful. But within about 30 minutes, things started to feel off. While walking along the trail, Phil noticed odd pieces of trash scattered by the path. At first glance, it just looked like litter, but then he realized that some of the containers had writing on them. Not just random scribbles, actual song lyrics and poems, carefully written out across the plastic. It didn't make any sense. Why would someone go through the trouble of writing all that, only to toss it into the woods? As Phil pressed on, the strange discoveries kept coming. Crossing the boundary into a deeper part of the forest, he stumbled across something even more unsettling.
The weirdness continues. What the hell? And there's a dead duck here.
One thing to note is that the notes looked freshly written, not soaked, not weathered, which suggests they might have been written that day. As Phil cautiously moved forward, he spotted a tarp in a small fire, burning at a campsite, about 20 yards away from where the notes and the duck were found. Not wanting to get any closer, Phil kept his distance and continued up the trail, aiming to reach a nearby shelter before nightfall. This wasn't caught on camera, but Phil reported that he encountered two women walking their dog. They stopped him immediately, asking if he'd seen anything strange, like the man who had been leaving dead animals and weird notes all along the trail. When Phil told them about the fire and the nearby campsite, the women looked terrified. They asked him to walk back to their car with them, and Phil, realizing it might be dangerous to stay near that area anyway, agreed. Phil decided to hike in the opposite direction, looking for a new shelter to camp at for the night. Luckily, the rest of his journey was calm. Eventually, he found a shelter, built a fire, and cooked dinner, miles away from the disturbing place he had left behind. As darkness settled, Phil decided to check the shelter's trail log, a notebook where hikers leave messages, notes, or just share stories from their trips. At first, it seemed normal. Silly drawings, funny notes from past hikers. But then, flipping further into the log, he spotted a page written in handwriting that looked strikingly familiar.
All right, let's see what's happened recently. Holy crap. Wait a second. Let me adjust the camera here. This writing looks almost exactly like the writing that was on that garbage a couple of miles from here.
It matched exactly the writing from the trash and notes he'd seen earlier, and now Phil realized he wasn't miles away from the man. Phil remembered that the women earlier had said they were going to call the police, but out here, in the middle of nowhere, no help was going to come quickly. As the night deepened, Phil returned to his tent to try to get some sleep. But before he settled in, he made one last unsettling discovery. Inside the shelter, hanging from a string tied to the ceiling, was half a Gatorade bottle with another handwritten note. The note read, "Watch out for Yeet Mouse. The dead do walk and talk." It was definitely from the same disturbed individual. Understandably shaken, Phil crawled into his tent, trying to shake off the growing sense of dread. Shortly later, while lying awake, Phil heard movement outside the tent, quiet footsteps crunching over leaves. Peeking out from the tent, he spotted a single figure walking around with a headlamp. Thankfully, Phil didn't wait to find out who it was. He quietly packed up his things, slipped away from the shelter, and made the long, tense hike back to his truck, checking over his shoulder the entire way to make sure he wasn't being followed. Thankfully, he made it back safely. And as of 2024, Phil hasn't posted any updates about the strange notes or the man lurking along the Appalachian Trail. It's very likely that dozens of other hikers stumbled across those same notes, but who the writer really was, and what could have happened if Phil hadn't left when he did, remains a mystery.